Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Reality Rights. I am author Ellie Alexander, and I'm here with
The tech guy.
the tech guy. Today, we are going to talk about what it's like to live in a fictional book world.
Whoa, what? We are?
Yeah.
Okay. We're
We are.
living in a fictional book world.
We're living in a fictional book world, and any of the darlings listening in or tuning in can also live in this fictional book world come October of this year.
That's right. There's a little event happening that will transport you right into the fictional but real life setting of the Bakeshop Mystery Series.
It's true. We are back with a second annual. You can say that now. Second annual. Tell the darlings how irritated you get with first annual.
Oh, man, there is no such thing as a first annual event. It's the first. It's not, and you could call it first, you could call it annual, but it's not the first annual because nothing can happen annually if it happens for the first time.
Are you sure about that?
I am positive.
I know.
I learned a lot when I got my degree in journalism all those years ago. And that is one of the things that they hammered home. It is one of the most frequent mistakes. And it drives me crazy because
I'm not picking that up. It's weird.
Yeah.
I know. So last year when we were promoting the inaugural Ashland Mystery Fest.
That's the preferred.
That's appropriate.
Yes, that's the preferred method of describing something that's happening for the first time. Yes.
But going into 2024, we can say now it is the second annual Ashland Mystery Fest.
And that's right. And you can say that because it will have happened twice, 2 years in a row. So yes. And then next year could be the third annual. Yeah. I get to complain about things.
And you're educating. We're educating the darlings out there.
Totally. You should learn something new every day. So hopefully somebody out there can check the box.
I would say that like any time in the last, 20 or 30 years when we see an event, it's always like on a big event banner. Like clearly somebody spent a lot of money on the banner, for like first annual, and your blood just starts to boil.
I just want to rip the banner down. I mean, it's embarrassing. They should be embarrassed.
They should be embarrassed. But we will not have that problem because we will be grammatically correct and mysteriously correct. So I want to talk a little bit about how the Ashland Mystery Fest came to be. And then maybe we could do a little recap of the inaugural event.
That's right.
And talk about what's going to happen this year. And I think we both have some ideas and like some bonus tips for any darlings who are already planning to attend on some of our favorite spots that we feel like they should hit up while they're in town.
That's right. Yeah, there's so many great things to see and do in Ashland. So we would love to list them out for you.
Yeah, so that's coming too. But the way that it started, and actually I feel like we kind of have to go back to the very beginning of the first Bakeshop release, because since the inception of the series coming out, we've really tried to do things a little bit differently. We've never done like the traditional bookstore signing. Not that there's anything wrong with that. And certainly I've done, I can't even count how many bookstore signings over the years, but for like launching the books, I had this vision that we could kind of create the vibe of Torch, the fictional bake shop that is featured in the series. And so we partnered with a lot of local bakeries in Vancouver, Washington at the time. And we didn't have a lot of money, obviously, to spend. And so we partnered with bakeries who were so kind to bake a special cake in exchange for being there, sharing information about their business. And then we gave away all of those incredible cakes to readers at the end of the night.
Yeah, definitely. And it was a great way to showcase local businesses besides the local independent bookstores that we did too, because we always had somebody there selling your books. But it was really a great way to just kind of bring a lot of businesses from the community together and celebrate the release of your book. And because it was so big, every time the event itself, we'd get a dozen or more vendors, businesses to help out with cakes, pastries, and things. We did a lot of bakeries with a ton of bread for the
We did
launch of
we did a whole
Handed.
bread market one year. Where it was like
Yeah.
like a little vendor fair, like a street fair, and readers got to come in and purchase bread and have tasting bites. And one year we did a chocolate festival for Fudge and Jury.
Yeah. But because these events were so big, we couldn't hold them at local independent bookstores because none of them had the space. So we had to get creative and find different businesses or spaces around town that we could actually, get a lot of room that we could then kind of mold to what we needed for that. And it was a lot of work. And we could not have pulled it off without the help of everyone who helped, dozens of people who helped put these things together, but they were super fun.
Yeah. And I mean, it truly took a village. It was like my dear friend Erica, who would coordinate all the vendors for us and help us find space. And then our entire families and friends and everybody would be slogging, like books and cakes and pastries. But it was amazing. And it was so magical. And it felt like getting to bring Tort to life a little bit. Like for me as a writer, because I've shared so many times that I'm not visual at all, it was always just such a delight to imagine, like, yes, that's what a Jules cake would look like, or that they're one of the bread makers made the skull from the
that was awesome.
They scoured it in the sourdough. They scored it in the sourdough, and
we held on to that thing as long as we could. It was a brick by the time it finally went bad, but it was awesome. We have so many pictures.
At one point we were like, we should shellac it and put it up on the wall. But
and we're like, what are we gonna do with this giant? I mean, it was huge. It was a big sourdough, but it was. But hundreds of people came to these things too. Hundreds. I mean, it was. They were not small events. So they were not your typical, independent bookstore book signing, because they were kind of showcases for a lot of different things. Your books were the centerpiece, obviously, but then it was just about partnering with everybody and bringing everyone together for a really fun event that was mystery themed.
Exactly. And really tapping into that whole community spirit, because it was all local, independently owned businesses. And like a lot of the early vendors that we worked with, they were getting their start too. Like Chrissy from Tier, she was just starting out. She's like my pastry muse.
She made my favorite birthday cake ever.
Talk about that. Yes.
Ever. It was a Christmas tree. I know. We'll have to share that on your social again, but it was in the shape of a Christmas tree. So, and it was probably, I don't know, 18 or 20 inches tall. And then she handmade all these little, maybe quarter sized, maybe $50 sized faces of various Star Wars characters like Chewbacca, Princess Leia, C-3PO, R2-D2, all these little round faces that she stuck as ornaments all over the tree. So not only did it look amazing, but then it was absolutely delicious too. It was so good. And I didn't want to cut into it, but then once I tasted it, I didn't feel as bad.
It was worth it. Yeah.
It was well worth it.
And so many layers, like a ridiculous amount of layers, and delicious fillings and all the things.
Yeah.
But that was just such a gift to get to help other, people who were at the start of their careers, candle makers, and I mean, you name it. And we all kind of built this community around my book launches. And many of those vendors came back again and again and again. And it really felt like the way that I described the community in Ashland with Jules and Tort. So then fast forward a few years, I drag you and Sky Guy to Ashland. We physically moved to Ashland, pretty much because of me. Right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
By force.
I'm not sure we had a choice, but no, we had a choice. It was, we all loved Ashland. I think the two of us were ready for a change. Sky Guy, I'm not so sure. I mean, it's always, he was like leaving all your school friends behind is never easy. So, but he made new ones. So
he did, and it thrived, and it was great.
He did thrive. It's an amazing place.
And once we moved there, I was nervous, like, oh, I've built up Ashland in my head in this very fictional way. So, as many of the darlings out there know, there are tons of places in town that inspired the series, and I use as, like the semi-real version, and I make it my own a little bit. But I was really concerned, like, what if we move there and it's not at all like it's built it up in my head? And the opposite was true. Like, literally, the first day we were there, neighbors were over and like greeting us and giving us pies and all the things. And so once we were living in Ashland, obviously, we made connections with a number of the independent and small businesses in town. And they all got to learn, like, hey, you're the Inspiration Mix and Oberon's and Paddington Station and all these places. And then the other thing that would happen is that I would often get email from readings from the from darlings, readers, saying, "Hey, I'm coming to Ashland because of the series. Like, where should I go?" And so I, at one point in time, put a note together because I was sending those emails so often. So I just wrote a note of like, "Okay, you have to go to all these places." And then one fortuitous day, I was at Paddington Station and talking to Pam Hammond, the owner, and I said, it would be super fun at some point in time to host like a little mystery festival in town. And, I could show readers all of the places that have inspired the books and we could have a fun little mystery. And Pam latched onto that idea and was like, oh no, the whole town needs to get on board. Like, we need to involve the Chamber of Commerce and all the businesses in Travel Ashland, and hence Mystery Fest was born.
That was my cue.
Oh, was it? Oh, I didn't even know. I didn't. Look at that.
The Ashland Mystery Festival. That's right.
Mystery Festival.
Second annual this year.
For any darlings who are listening, he just showed a picture of like the logo.
It's the logo. Yeah.
It's the logo. It's not.
Yeah.
You're not missing anything major if you're just listening, and it's all good. So last year I invited 9 author friends because it quickly turned into something much bigger than I had even initially imagined. And so once we had some initial meetings with Travel Ashland and the Chamber and some of the business community, I was like, well, yeah, we could do my books. But what would be even more fun is what if I invited some other authors and I could invite some similar cozy authors and we could really make this a fully immersive cozy mystery weekend. Because Ashland in the fall especially is just like your quintessential cozy village, is it not?
Yeah. For those who don't know, Ashland is it's in part of the Siskiyou Mountains down in Southern Oregon, and in the fall, it looks magical. There's all the trees are different colors. The weather's usually really nice. Not too hot, not too cold. It's just beautiful. And it is really kind of a magical place. And it's one of the reasons that we moved there originally. You just fell in love with it. All the seasons. It does get a little hot in the summer.
A little hot, a little smoky.
A little smoky now, yeah. But yeah, it is beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that was kind of our base and our starting point. And the entire plaza and downtown is so walkable. You don't need a car. You really can walk to all of the places that you may have read about if you've read the Bakeshop Mysteries. And so that was kind of our starting point. And I remember crafting the email to the authors who I wanted to invite. And I was so nervous to send them out. I was just like, I had butterflies in my stomach. I'm like, oh, everybody's going to say no. They're going to be like, I'm not going to come to Ashland. And I kid you not, within 2 days, everyone who I invited said yes. So I was just like, this can't be real. They're all, yes, they all want to come. We're doing this. And so then we set about putting together kind of an entire event schedule with the thought in mind that over the years, I've traveled to a lot of big book conventions and book conferences, and not all of them, but many of them are geared toward the craft of writing. And almost all of them, actually all of them, I can't think of anything that I have been to, take place in like a big hotel convention.
Ballrooms, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and maybe you're going to a few other little breakout rooms, but you're pretty much in the hotel. And then maybe sometimes there are like some special excursions you can do as an aside from that. But like you're just inside in a hotel ballroom all weekend long. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I wanted this to be interactive. I wanted this to be really reader focused. And I wanted readers who are coming to feel like they are stepping into the pages of the books and they're doing everything,
Yeah.
including even solving a mystery that Jules
Yeah.
is doing.
Right. Right. Yeah, and that the mystery was fun. And in fact, we're working on the one for the second annual Mystery Festival. Right now, as a matter of fact, the first one we had a lot of fun putting that together. So as part of the Mystery Festival, we put together a mystery that involved a series of posters that we needed to put at various businesses and places around town, and you got your starting clue, and you had to solve your starting clue to find the first poster, and then the first poster, once you found that, it had another clue that would lead you to the second, so on and so forth, until you solved the overall mystery, and then you headed back to Paddington Station to enter into a drawing for a bunch of different prizes. That was super fun. There were a couple of hiccups along the way. One of the businesses, we had dropped the posters off the night before because some of the posters were hidden out around town and others were actually in businesses around town. And one of the businesses, we will not name names, they lost the poster. And this particular business does not open until late in the afternoon each day. Might give you a clue as to what kind of business it is, but my son and I were running around trying to get in touch with anyone that could get us in, that could unlock the door so we could get the poster and put it up in the window. And I'm calling the chamber. I don't know what to do at this point. He saved the day because he actually went on Instagram and DM'd the account for this business, and the owner responded within seconds, and was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'll be right down there." But when she got down there, she unlocked the door for us, and the poster wasn't there. I don't know what happened to it. It just disappeared. So that was really that was scary because all of a sudden I was like, "Oh no, well." I thankfully had thought ahead and wanting to support Ashland businesses, got all the posters printed at one of the print shops in Ashland that I'd used many times when we lived there. And they were like, "No problem. We'll have it ready in 15 minutes. Come on down." And we went down there and got it and then went and taped it up and saved the day. Only a few people had been to the business. They'd been looking for the second poster by the time.
Right. That's what I was going to say, because it's like readers got their first clue that morning. They could go to Paddington Station when it opened and get a clue early to start. And so that we already saw, readers' darlings were out around town, like going to all the spots. And
totally. Oh, yeah. We were just, I was just doing a triple, quadruple check because I was worried that one of them might have gone missing. And sure enough, it had, but we figured it out. So hopefully we can put together something even more fun for this year.
Yeah. So this past year for the mystery that readers had to solve, it involved all of the locations that have been featured in the book. So not only did you have to, some readers logged quite a few miles walking all around town trying to find and solve some of the clues. So we were worried like, oh, we've made this too easy, but I don't think we did. So it's good.
No, we tripped a bunch of people up on the last clue. I think because people were so excited, they read, "This is the final clue." They didn't read the rest of it, and then they ended up at the wrong place, and it was a whole thing. But
it was a whole thing.
But there were a lot of people that solved it too, including one couple that said they did it in like 20 minutes, which I still think is suspect, but maybe.
I don't know. They're super sleuth. They know their Bakeshop lore, right?
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
And also, if you lived in Ashland, you might have a little bit of a leg up. This year it's going to be harder though.
Yeah,
we definitely have an advantage, but this year's going to be harder because we're going to try to work in a little clue from every author who's attending all of their books too. So we're going to make it a little trickier.
And you're going to have to do shots to move on to the next phase. No, I'm kidding. Just kidding. I'm going to get in trouble for talking about that on the outside the after party.
That's right. Yikes. No. So last year, in addition to the interactive mystery, we set up a variety of panels that took place at the library. We got the Ashland chief of police to come to a panel to
Oh my
talk
goodness, that was so
about
funny. Yeah, he was
everything.
amazing,
He was
just
so great.
amazing.
Oh,
If you've ever seen on TV, movies, or whatever, the kind of jovial but not so jovial like competition that goes on between police and the fire department. This took center stage in Chief O'Meara's his panel, and it was incredible. People
it
were
was
just laughing out
fantastic.
loud. Yeah.
And we really touched on all of the things that, as cozy mystery writers, this is me and fellow panelists, other authors, that we potentially get really wrong in terms of what
Oh
actually
yeah.
happens in a police
Yeah.
investigation. Plus, we got some good little tidbits on, new ways that the police track criminals, like geo tagging, and yeah, all kinds of stuff.
The panel was especially funny for me just because I was watching it and shooting pictures and video of it. But so the Ashland police chief he's a pretty big guy, and he's very serious looking. He's extremely nice and
He's
like
incredible.
just an
Yeah.
incredible person, but he looks very serious. And he was sitting at the end of the table with like, what were there, four of you? I think there were
Yeah, yeah.
four, and you were all women authors, all
Right,
cozy
right.
mystery writers. And every question he was just like, it's like, well, what, how believable would this be? And he would just be like, and just, like you could see that he was in the gears turning in his head. Like he wanted to be polite, but he also wanted to tell you, like, there is no way that 99% of what you write on those pages would actually happen. If it
Right.
did, everyone else involved in the case would be fired, like instantly fired. Like, what? You let a pastry chef just walk around the crime scene? Oh, sure, no problem. Just, yeah, great.
Fine.
What, she solved the crime instead of you, detective so-and-so? Like, yeah, I know. It was amazing though. So great that he participated.
I know. We need him back. So we had panels like that. We had multiple murder mystery dinners. So the Winchester Inn, which is one of the settings for my book, A Couple of Holiday Fear is set there. Yeah. They put together an actual murder mystery dinner with actors embedded. I wrote the mystery for that, and the Rogue Theater Group acted it out, and there was a full course dinner with that, and like even a panna cotta skull with a bloody raspberry Kool-Aid over it. There was like a pub crawl and just events all weekend long, teas, you name it. It was great. And then it was so fun to be walking all around town in between events and popping in to say hi to readers from all over the United States and around the globe. And same thing for writer friends. So yeah, it was wonderful.
Yeah, one of the things that I thought was interesting, and I've only been to a few of the conferences, like you were the more traditional ones, like your Left Coast Crime, or your what's the other one? Malice. That's the other one I was thinking of. And those are, I mean, they're big but they are all in one place. And so one of the coolest things that you thought of that I thought worked really well was authors were doing pop-up signings like all around town at different venues. So, you might have somebody like somebody who's writing a mystery about, ice cream, a cozy mystery series that's themed around ice cream might be at Zoe's Ice Cream in Ashland, which is amazing, by the way. If you come to Mystery Festival, you have to get ice cream at least once, but probably 5 times at Zoe's Ice Cream.
That's
just,
right.
It's a official tech guy endorsement.
Okay. Yeah.
Non-paid.
Non-paid, exactly. We don't get kickbacks for any of this. We didn't get paid for Mystery Fest either. Like, this is just because we want to do this and love this. Yeah. So authors did pop-ups all around town. It was just same thing when I sent out the requests to authors. I was worried that I would get a no, and then when we announced that it was happening, I was like, oh, maybe a few people would come, but no. Yeah. Darlings came from all over, and we just have such an incredible bookish community. So, as you know, I'm a hugger, and so I spent the whole weekend just basically hugging and kissing everyone's face.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, we should talk about that though, because you weren't the only one that was. I mean, you were nervous because you put so much work into, with along with everybody at Travel Ashland and all the business owners like Pam. You already mentioned her, but all the others that helped put this on. But there were those that didn't think that many people would show up. And it was so fun to kind of see people like, I don't have my bleep key here, so I can't use what to say, but they were like, whoa, that was a lot. I mean, it was a lot of people that came. And, for a town that is 20,000 people, 20,000 residents, and, is used to getting big tourism numbers because of the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, which is world famous, but after the pandemic has just struggled, right? And so to see business owners come up to you, and just thank you for such a successful event. And to see the attendees, like the readers and everybody who came, come up to you and be like, that was super fun. I had an amazing time. Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Yeah.
It's really great to see.
It was amazing. And we learned so much. And so this year it's back and it's better than ever.
Right.
We have 14 authors coming this year.
How many did we have last year?
We had 10.
10. Okay.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Yeah. This year we have 14. We have expanded the event list. We've expanded the event. So it's kicking off on Thursday. Last year, it kicked off Friday night and ended Sunday morning. This year, it's kicking off Thursday night and ending Sunday morning. And we're bookending it. So we have a kickoff reception and then we have a goodbye literary brunch on Sunday. And there are going to be haunted walking tours. As we mentioned, we're writing a new mystery, so many panels. The teas are back. So there'll be teas at Lovejoy's. We're also doing actual tort test kitchens. So readers will actually have a chance to bake with me or other authors who are coming and get those recipes and get to taste them. What else? An Agatha Christie themed dinner on Friday night where readers will dine with an author and can come in Agatha-inspired attire if you're so inclined. And I think the showpiece panel that afternoon is that there's a group of authors that is going to build a story together with readers that afternoon.
Oh, fun.
And then at the dinner, that story will be presented, shall we say.
Oh, that's great. I guess Mystery Fest adjacent is the Oregon Cabaret Theater is showing Sherlock Holmes: A Study in Scarlet, and I think that's playing Friday and Saturday night. So if people are so inclined, that is definitely something you should get tickets for ahead of time because they will sell out. But that is a fantastic. I haven't seen A Study in Scarlet, but I've seen many, many shows at the Oregon Cabaret Theater, and they are always just a lot of fun.
Yeah, you will have. You're like, and actually, they're doing a show on Thursday night and a Sunday afternoon matinee too. So.
Oh wow! Okay, so even more chances. That's great. That's great.
And this year, for the first time, we're partnering with the Varsity Theater, which is the historic movie theater downtown. And we're going to do a screening of Knives Out. And Esme Addison is going to do a little chat before the movie and introduce it. So, yeah, lots of fun stuff. The Winchester is going to do 2 mystery dinners. So we'll have the murder-themed dinners on Friday and Saturday night. Still a fun thing.
That's awesome. Yeah, sounds great. So what should people do when they're not attending a Mystery Fest event or signing or panel?
Exactly. There's so much to explore, not only in Ashland, but all of Jackson County. So we thought we would give you a few of our favorite things that we think you should check out. And for me, I want you to check out Eliana Winery, which is the vineyard that Uva is. I can't even say inspired by because I've told this story already, but I had already written Uva into the series. And then we moved to Ashland and my dear friend Wendy was like, hey, I know exactly what Uva is. And I'm like, no. It was in my head. I made it up. And she was so insistent. And she was like, no, I will take you there. And lo and behold, she took me to Eliana and it is exactly what I wrote, which still to this day, I don't know. It's something bizarre with how creative energy flows, I guess. But yes. So if you have a chance to check out Eliana Wines, go do that.
Yeah. Is it my turn? Do I get?
Sure. That's my first.
Okay, that's your first.
Yeah.
We'll alternate. Okay.
Okay. Sure.
So I guess first I have to put Scout at the top of the list. Scout is a restaurant slash pub. It's right across the street from the entrance to Lithia Park. And it has Ashland Creek actually flows right behind it. It's amazing. The food is amazing. They have a ton of different kinds of beers on tap, mixed drinks, non-alcoholic drinks. And it's just great. It's just great atmosphere and stuff. So Scout, if you need to take like a 30 to 60 to 90 minute break, go to Scout. And just grab.
You can bring a new book. You'll grab a book from one of the authors, right? And you can just cozy up at Scout. Yeah.
Yeah. You grab one of the picnic tables outside or one of the Adirondack chairs next to the fire pits and just relax. Yeah.
I love it. Okay. My next pro tip is, and this is for anyone who might be coming who has access to a vehicle. You don't need a car if you're coming. You really can, like fly into Medford, Uber into Ashland, and not need a car for the entire weekend because everything is concentrated in the plaza. And like I said, it's super walkable. But if you have a car or you have a book friend who's coming who has a car and you want to take a little day trip, you can head up to Mount A. Mount A has been in a lot of the series. And I definitely think it's worth a visit because, first of all, it's only a 30-minute drive from Ashland, like to the summit. It's a gorgeous drive. And once you get up there, especially in October, the most stunning sweeping views of all of the Siskiyous and Mount Shasta, and you can see the lodge. And if you wanted to, you could take a little hike around the rim out to like the warming hut and back. And I just feel like it gives you the true Southern Oregon mountain experience.
Yeah, that's a good one. I guess I'm going to stick with outdoor themes then. And I might be stealing one of yours, but you can talk about other parts. It's going to be Lithia Park. You got to see Lithia Park, but you have to go on a walk through Lithia Park.
Definitely.
And so now I will caveat that by saying if you have mobility challenges and you can still walk through Lithia Park. There are paved paths and the road that goes up through Lithia Park, but it is hilly. It is.
Yeah.
You get some elevation. You're already going to be at elevation. Yeah. You're already going to be at 2,000-ish feet. And then in Lithia Park, it just kind of goes like, uphill. But in the fall, when we'll be there, if you want to see the local wildlife and just the beautiful scenery and everything, Lithia Park is amazing. And I can't even remember how many miles of trails there are through Lithia Park, but you'll probably see deer. Well, you'll definitely see deer. You'll probably see turkeys. Hopefully you don't see bears or mountain lions, but you'll see warning signs telling you that other people have seen bears and mountain lions recently in the area, always, because they are common. Pay attention to the signs, do follow the instructions. But I am going to say one thing about the deer, because I witnessed this multiple times during the inaugural Mystery Fest.
Yes.
Please don't try to feed the deer.
No, don't
stay away from the deer. They look really cute. They are adorable. They will mess you up in seconds. You won't even know what's happening, and you'll be on the ground, and they will take you out. It is especially dangerous around the does when there are fawns nearby, and you won't see them. Please don't. I saw people trying to feed leaves to deer, and they'll just stand there because they're very used to humans, but they do not want to be pet. No matter how much they look like they want to be pet, they don't want to be pet. So just look from afar, take pictures from afar. Don't try to get close, turn your back and do a selfie, because the next thing you know, you'll have a 300-pound deer on your back, pushing you to the ground.
No.
So but you will see deer. So that's that's my caveat. Just don't feed the deer.
I love it. You know, so many times early on in the series, I would always use the phrasing, the wild tame deer in Lithia Park. And every time my editor would take it out because she would be like, there's no such thing. Like you're contradicting yourself. But I'm like, but that's really what they are. They're very tame. They amble all through town. They literally use the crosswalk. Like we've got so many instances of the deer just crossing perfectly in the crosswalk, but they are wild animals. So yeah, that's good advice. Okay. The other side trip that I think you should take if you have access to a car or you want to, you know, like grab an Uber and go explore for the day is to head to Jacksonville, which is again, like another just 30-minute drive away. But it is an old historic downtown, like your true old Oregon, like mining town. And it's just delightful shops and little restaurants, again, super walkable. But it's definitely worth a day trip if you want another excursion.
Yeah, that is totally true. There are some great places out there. I guess for my next one, I'm going to say this will be kind of a hidden spot because I don't know if a lot of Mystery Fest people will be wandering down this way, but because it's not on the main plaza or the main street or anything, but that there's a little place kind of down a few blocks off the plaza called Gill's. And Gill's and its sister business next door, Ruby's, are fantastic spots if you want to grab lunch or get a beer and sit in just a nice little, neighborhood outdoor restaurant. There are a couple of tables inside at each, but I recommend sitting outside on the patios. Again, a couple blocks off the plaza. So it's really, if you want to meet or see a lot of locals, then go to like Gill's and Ruby's because that's the kind of neighborhood hangouts down that way.
That's perfect. Okay. Mine is great for a little morning special treat. And it's right across the street from the library. So, if you're going to one of the morning panels at the library, you could pop in here first and grab a coffee. And if they have them, they're lemon-filled jelly brioche donuts at Hither. Hither is this very sweet coffee, and it has a lot of like wine. During the pandemic, they were doing these like pasta nights where you could go and you would get like homemade spaghetti and meatballs and a bottle of wine and salad for like, I don't remember, but like $25 or something, super reasonable. And so it's not the inspiration for Tort. That is Mix, which will be definitely involved in the weekend. But over the years of living in Ashland, a lot of little spaces like Hither have kind of like worked their way into Tort too. But the brioche jelly-filled donuts are next level.
Yeah, that is so true. I without describing it, I'm just going to give listeners, the darlings, a challenge. Anybody coming to the Mystery Fest, I want to see if anybody can find the comic shop in Ashland.
Ooh,
there's a comic shop in Ashland. It is not the easiest store to find, but if you're into that sort of thing or graphic novels or anything, see if you can find the comic shop and let me know.
I love that. So if you're thinking about coming to Mystery Fest, you absolutely should. This is your sign to come. It starts October 17th, that Thursday, and goes through Sunday. And you can find all of the information about it at Travel Ashland, and we'll share links too, of course. It's not too late to sign up.
Yeah. And I think we purposely didn't mention or get into detail about some of the showcase stops, which would be like Mix, Paddington Station. There are events, Oberon's. There are events at a lot of these places, and you will recognize them from the books. But yeah, you should just, if you have time, just walk around the plaza area of Ashland, and you will not be disappointed.
And you might even have a tech guy sighting while you're in town. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Well, if you go to Scout, Growler Guys, or Gills, you'll probably find me.
Okay. All right. You heard it here first, darlings.
Yeah. Maybe I'll have a
Well,
tech guy event. I don't know. We'll have to see.
that. Ooh, okay.
Could do
I
behind
like
the
it.
scenes beers with the beer tech guy beers, something like that.
Yeah, I'm in. Count me in.
Yeah.
On that note, we hope that we will see you in Ashland for the second annual Ashland Mystery Fest this fall.
What was that URL again?
It's Travel Ashland. I think it's travelashland.org, and then it's /Mystery Fest.
But if you just go to travelashland.org,
You go to Travel Ashland, you'll see it. Yeah.
We can put it in the description. But yeah, it's hope to see everybody there. It's going to be a fun time. Again, still working on the mystery, but it's going to be great.
It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. All right. On that note, until next time.
Till next time.